Coming to you live from sunny Arizona. The Steve Rude Show is now live.
The moment has come. It's time for the Steve Rude Live Show, which is taking place as you watch it. So we got some really good stuff coming up here. One of them, the main event, because there's always a main event on the Dude Show. We're going to be inking the figure that I drew in pencil last week. And we had a couple people sign up, or rather send in their attempts at the same figure that I'm going to be inking today. And I'll be showing you that in a little bit. But first, community announcements. After all, we are a community. We have 7 new free Patreon members. Mike, Thomas, Clemens, Harry, everyone needs a Harry, Liam, Zeliet Rodriguez, Terry Labros, and Gao Dion. I think that's got to be Vietnamese. But wait, there's more. We're 4 members away from hitting 100 paid members for Patreon. Is that exciting or what? So if you've been thinking about supporting us, now's the perfect time to be one of our legendary 4. Okay, you want to be a legend? We need 4 more. Nexus Return to Earth, the thing that I've been working on and will be working on for the next at least 6 months, which is a blast, let me tell you. So if you've enjoyed seeing the behind-the-scenes work on Nexus Return to Earth and want more, you have to sign up for the crowdfunder. Tricky. Launching in September for the preview edition we're putting together. Head to steverude.com/RTE to sign up. Good thing they write this stuff down because I'd never remember it. $25 Patreon members get to see all stages of the new page weekly. That's these pages right here, which I'll be showing you in a second here. $5 Patreon members. I guess it's all about members these days, huh? Started seeing final inked pages this week with page 2. And I'm up to page 16. Cool, huh? Other announcements. Oh, we got some surgery coming up here. Ordinarily, I would think it'd be brain surgery for me, but it's actually for Gino. To help pay for Gino's surgery next week, a site-wide sale is happening starting today, ending next week, Saturday. There's no fixed discount, so see what we're offering on steverude.com. I was in surgery a couple months back. Worst nurses I ever had. One of them was good looking, but that didn't make up for it. She'll be out for a bit, so please be patient waiting for replies. Her assistant, Gino's assistant, Lynn, now that Gino's going to be in the hospital, will be shipping your orders. She's very competent, she's very enthusiastic, and she's been working with the Dude team for a long time. So we got something from Joey here. Where is the thing I'm going to be doing here? The organization in here is absolutely tremendous. But it's all here. It's all here, folks. So, this is the thing that I did on the page, the actual page that's been blown up like a million times. This is the drawing I did last week, and that was the challenge for you guys out there to draw it as well. So, we got a couple people in, but let's show you the guy that did the best he could. Here it is. Slap it on there, Mr. Producer. So, Joey mentioned, here's my homework for the week. I used blue HB and 5B pencils. It was kind of tricky getting the head. Well, welcome to that club. The difficult head club. Which is why we have a head folder here. All the heads you could ever want to get ahead with are right here in this folder. They're just to remind me how to draw. And that goes along also with the hands. we need hand homework this week, so we got these out ready to go. Okay, community announcements out of the way. What do they do? They go like this, right? Okay. This is this week's comments from last week, and we got some good ones here. It's a lot of stuff on Gil Kane, actually, which is great. So wherever Gil is in the great beyond, I actually believe they can sense us, looking down on us. We're down here, they're up there. I think that's a better angle from where they are. So, Paul Hewson writes in, the body angles are getting more extreme with each panel. He's talking about the work on the latest Nexus story, Return to Earth, which I go over every week to show you what I've accomplished. Great visual storytelling. Well, that's nice. I've only checked out the ones that are nice and controversial and have a problem with my fast talking and my slurred speech. So Mark something or other, I like this because it relates to everybody, and he's basically saying that in his comment. Awesome lesson, makes me feel normal that I'm not the only one that has struggles at times. Now, who doesn't feel that in their lifetime? Everybody does. How does Mr. Dude feel about superhero films? I would like his take on The Incredibles and maybe do a Mr. Incredible drawing in the process of giving his opinion. Since when do I give opinions? I just give facts. So, superhero films. Honestly, I would back up a 15-cent comic that's 24 pages long to be more coherent and more emotional than most of the movies I see that spend $10 billion on. The Incredibles was very good. I know that Brad Bird's a big fan of the cartoon shows that I grew up in. One of them is Johnny Quest, so he must have good taste. Yeah, I'll do a Mr. Incredible drawing. It sounds like a fun thing to do. Doc Civil, he's obviously big in civility. 6 days ago, thank you for continuing to create traditional hand-pulled art, complete with word balloons. I was afraid that so many artists are going digital that original art would disappear off the face of the earth. That might include the rest of the planets in the solar system too. You never know what's going on over there. You can't hang a digital page on the wall, no kidding. The best you can do is hang a print of a digital art. It's not the same. You guys know that I'm dead set as being one of the few to continue the practice for the duration until I expire of doing everything hand done. We have computers in the office for this and that, but all the work that I do is with a pencil, a brush, and paint. So you're welcome, Doc Civil. How civil can you get? I love this one right here. Steve, close the spout on that big bottle of Kohinoor ink on the shelf. It will thicken up. It looks like the spout is open. Well, let's grab it and find out. Well, in fact, the spout is open. But the thing is, when I put this thing down, it's so hard to get up, I just figure, hell, I'm just going to leave it up. And the hole is so small that I can't see it really thickening up too much. But good call. Good catch there, guys. Glad you guys are on the ball here. Mark Richards. Neil tried to take over a job for Gil. Would like to hear the details in that story. There's another one that says something about politics in comics. Well, there's politics everywhere. As long as there's people, there's going to be game playing and backstabbing and lies. And I've always figured that, people being the way they are and always will be. This is a human constant here. All you have in life is your character. So if you have character, that is the only thing that will get you the kind of dignity and respect from others that you can ever expect in life. So that's a big one to me. I've been doing animation for over 30 years. Some pretty great stuff too, which is cool. 30 years is a long time. Some of you out there aren't even 30 years old. Recently I started doing comics. One of the toughest things I've ever done. I can tell you a story about when I visited DreamWorks a while ago. This is back when you didn't have to have people with mirrors going under your car and checking your your trunk. Good days. I really miss those days. When I went to DreamWorks, I would go around and meet almost everybody there, and I'd meet a lot of foreign guys that were flown over here to do the work in California. And one thing they always commented on, knowing that I was a comic book artist, is that they all loved the pay that they made in animation, but their real wish was to do something personal with their name stamped on it. And that was the only way they could do that to them, was doing a personal comic book. Same thing with Miyazaki. He says making the manga stuff, which is the comic book version in Japan, was a way worse pain compared to making animated movies. Now, can you believe that? We're talking about, I don't know, 20 pages of a comic compared to a movie that takes 4 to 5 years to make. And the way this guy makes movies, you talk about traditional, and I just love hearing that. These traditional things only go away when people stop doing them. If they keep doing them, they're going to stick around. And when they stick around, other people are going to look at the work and say, how was that done? Well, it was done traditionally. They're going to get excited. They're going to get out their pens and brushes, and they're going to get out their illustration board, and they're going to discover a whole new world that's been waiting for them for a long time. Me, I grew up with that, so that's the way it's going to stay with me. What cartoon show did Gil Kane work on? I want to see it. Well, being the smart guy that I am, I Xeroxed this off the Comics Journal from a Gil Kane interview from in the 2000s. Gil is one of the few guys whose work actually got better with time. So he's talking about the time, but Gil Kane is talking about the time he was in tremendous debt, and the work he did for Marvel hardly paid anything enough to survive the various financial difficulties he was going through. So he moved to California from Connecticut, or he was doing all the work for Marvel, the covers from the 70s, if you guys remember all that, and I'm sure you do. So he went over to DC and started working on Superman. Now, a lot of you remember that. That was when he was inking his own work. Here's a little trim right here of some of the work he was doing with his little magic markers. And I know that Gil was having a great time at the end of his career because he was finally free to do things exactly as he wished to do them. So when he went over to DC and started doing Superman, he finally made some money. No comment. Several $1,000s in bonuses on top of the work he made for DC because they were so fair and decent. So Gil moved to California in 1984. That was a good year, I remember it. October of 84. And he was with Ruby Spears. That's where he did the Superman animated show for 5 years. He initially started out at Marvel Animation, and they paid for squat. And he didn't like the way he was treated. Here's how Gil put it. They started to give me presentation work, and I got shafted on the prices. Probably both. This is the part I like because I remember visiting Ruby Spears at the time, and I don't remember seeing Gil there, but I remember meeting a guy named John Dorman, who was a very fair guy, and who was in charge of the Superman animated cartoon show. So when Gil went over to Ruby Spears after he got treated crappily by Marvel, John Dorman offered me this job at doing the Superman cartoon show, models and presentation work and all that, quiet dick. And he offered me this job making way more money than I ever could at Marvel. No comment. And it was just great, Gil writes. I had about 5 years of an unbroken ride of work. And the work just got better and better, and I was doing comics on the side every now and then. Apparently a lot of guys, when they found out that there was this gold rush in California, of work over there in the animation business headed over there. So a lot of guys he worked with in New York were going to California. He says, but it was a way different deal over at Ruby Spears. It was one of the best periods I had. I paid off all my debts within 1 year, including income tax. Well, there you heard it, right from the artist's mouth. So there's the scoop on the Gil Kane work for the Superman cartoon show. This is interesting. Gabriel Valles says, yes, comics are the most intensive medium any artist can do. I've done feature film, animation, video games, children's books, and a lot more. The problem is comics don't pay well compared to other media. I would love to do comics, but can't afford it. Ain't that the truth? How am I affording it? By you guys. Matt Carroll wrote, I wish it was Carol Matt, that would be a girl. So he writes good stuff, pointing out your faults is proof of a good person and a great artist. You're welcome. Rob Morgenbesser always likes Sundra Peale. Well, who doesn't? She's a beautiful blonde girl. Next on the list, some guy named Kevin says, yes, this is true about comics and animation. At legit animation studios, you get benefits. You get paid for overtime. You get even paid when your producer or lead animator has screwed up and you don't have anything to work on. Animation is a tough career, but it's much easier than a comics career. So if you really want to punish yourself, quit your animation job where you're being treated miserably but get all that money and have a good time doing comics. What a trade-off here. Brad redacted 7 days ago. Steve, you touched on Neil trying to get the job from Gil on the Superman cartoon show, which leads to my question about politics and comics. Well, I think I covered that earlier. It's no different than anywhere else. People are people. Let's get into some fun stuff. You guys have known that I've been working on my Nexus animation show for the last nearly 40 years of my life. And I'm constantly doing new layouts and taking those layouts and trying to animate them. This is part of the fun of being a freelancer and making almost nothing of doing it. I've been working on this thing for free for almost 40 years, and I'm having a great time. Sometimes I like to adapt really cool poses from different artists that I like. It's kind of like a fun homage. So you see this panel from Kirby that I love so much right here, this great Kirby panel from 1966 when he was totally on fire. So I grabbed a piece of 12 feet animation paper and I adapted that pose to a Nexus pose. It's different enough so people don't think I ripped anything off and that I can't draw. But it's fun doing these. I actually have dozens of these kind of things going on. So if the show ever gets on and you spot a familiar looking pose, that's because I adapted it from the greats. A lot of those greats include Alex Raymond and Hal Foster. And anyone else who does a really good job. On to the Nexus Return to Earth latest pages. Have you guys seen this page yet? I don't think so. You can see various things are whited out. That's because I screwed up on it. So the guys that write it and say it's nice to see Rude screwing up, well, there's guaranteed to be more of that. So they just moved into their new house on Earth. And the little kid is running up there, can I see my room? Can I see my room? And Sundra Peale's, yeah, but come back in a little bit because we're going to have lunch. Meanwhile, Nexus is over here pushing buttons. And he goes, how does anyone work with this junk? It's so confusing. Well, that's a little autobiographical. So Sundra stops him and says, don't press that, you're going to blow up the whole house. So she goes up to, this is a different scene that I actually envisioned in my thumbnails. So I'm always on my toes when it comes to changes that improve the story or is more dramatic or gives a stronger emotional vibe than what I originally did. So when I get to like page 12, I look at the thumbnail and I look it over and something will come into my head and say, okay, push that farther, make that more emotional, add some romance to the story. So all this comes in immediately after I see my thumbnail, and as I'm kind of blocking this in, I'll just get these crazy ideas to improve things. And for me, it feels right. So she goes up and sees little Harry playing with a laser. So there's a lot of good stuff going on there. I'm not going to throw these pages like that. Let's go to page 14. Nobody's seen this yet. Some of the pencil lines are still here. We're going back to the girls in the what do you really call that? Kind of a, it's more or less a prison where they're all confined. These girls are all sold as human trafficking girls here. In the meantime, we have a domestic situation going on here. Nexus is saying, "Can I help you in the kitchen? Can I help you in the..." Nope, stay away from me here, Rachel. So this is a goofy little thing I thought up at literally the last second right here. Again, these things come to me at the speed of light. Nexus is dressed up in his dress outfit because Sundra insists that they dress up for their first meal, even though it's just probably macaroni and cheese. So Harry comes down, and Nexus says, "You're supposed to be dressed up." So I have this panel going up where he runs back up to his room to change his outfit. So Sundra Peale is very happy. This is kind of like a cutaway shot of her smelling what she just did and thinking they're going to be pretty happy with it. So she sets it down on the table. You can see by their expression they're not too thrilled by it. And Sundra Peale goes, "Next time you guys can cook." Next page you haven't seen yet. This is a nice open page. They're hauling boxes. Sundra Peale has what do we call it? What do they call it? A perma grip. So she puts on these gloves and suddenly she can lift 1,000 pounds, which is going to come in handy when you're moving heavy stuff. Then a phone call comes in. Click. And she goes, "Horatio, you got a phone call from somebody here." He's over there lifting a billion things right here. So he gets on the little communicator and finds out it's the president. So the president talks to him. And they talk back and forth, and the last line is here, after he's getting a disappointing conversation with the president. He goes, "He didn't even bother to send a fruit basket." So you see how simple these pages are. With color, they're going to be very readable because of the open space. So we have a nice distribution of blacks. We have a nice distribution of panel arrangements here. This wasn't supposed to be a down shot, but it just, at the last minute, bang, tend to do a down shot. Little variety there. And page 16. Here's page 16. Very much in progress, as they say in the news business. Nexus is writing in his journal about everything that's happened to him since he returned to Earth. This right here is an area, an enclosed dome where the dome opens for him so he can take off. It's on the very top floor of his new house. So it opens up with a little mechanical snap of his fingers. The dome opens up and he takes off. I have another page, but I think that's downstairs. We'll show it to you if we can find it. These are little things I do right here. These are things that I've already drawn. I just paste, well, I make a Xerox of it so that in page 500, when I have to do the house again, I don't got to go looking through 1,000 pages. I just have these ready to go to show me, oh, this is the house that I drew. So be consistent. What other cool stuff do we have here? You guys saw my thumbnails? How long does this go right here? To up to page 56. This is going to be 100 pages, so I have a long ways to go. But this is what they look like. So when I'm ready to do the page for today, I get these out, look at it, and if there's anything to be improved or anything that should be changed, I change it. So a lot of times I have looked at this and said, I need to add another scene to fill this out and give it proper attention. And like I said, these are all things that just come to you. We are artists, and a lot of times we just get these flashes of images in our head, and if our consciences change it, and you find a way to make it better, you make it better. Script, thumbnails. Script, thumbnails. It's very fluid. It can be changed at any given time, or very amorphous if you want to go college here. So we've got this and this. It's time to do the main event. I'm always big in the main event here. Remember this pose that I drew last week in pencil? Of course you do. Mr. Producer is going to flash it up on the screen as we begin flashing. And this is the drawing that I did very quickly to show you how I constructed the figure. Being a man of resource, I now transfer this to a nice piece of illustration, Bristol board, the kind that all comic book artists work on. So from this fairly loose drawing, I guess you would say, I'm going to be inking this. So that is the demo for the day coming up here. Now I'm going to put this over here, and I want to show you something I did right here. When it comes to things that I'm not quite sure about, like folds, because folds, you can be, what's the word for it? You can be endlessly creative with folds. So, what do we have here? We have the fold, whatever you call it here. I'm losing my mind. It's folds, okay? And there's a lot of them on here. And this helps me not do generic folds, because with this little thing, and this is one of 100 that I've done here, with this stuff to look at, depending on the material and the weight of the material and what it's made of and all that kind of stuff, I can use this as a very valuable resource and to work from. So, for example, along with this drawing, or this photo right here and this one, where we see, I forgot his name, Mr. Iron Man. Yeah, I had it in my head a second ago, but you know how my brain is working after all this time. Who is this guy, Mr. Producer?
It's not Robert?
Yeah, it's Robert Downey Jr., yeah. So he's been around for a long time. Here he is getting arrested. And I really like the folds here. This guy's used to prison time because he's been in there in and out a lot. Why? Because of drugs. A lot of people take drugs. Did you know the dude has never taken a drug in his life? I've never been drunk. I've never smoked. I've never taken drugs. You know why? Because I don't need them. People that need that kind of stuff are looking to fill something inside of them that they don't have on the inside. I love what I do. I've always loved it. I'm internal. I never needed these things to fill up something in me that was hollow. So here, Downey Jr. getting arrested, and these folds right here. I looked at that stuff, and one of these folds was so complicated, I just kind of did an overlay of it. And from here, I kind of extrapolated, my favorite word, extrapolate, what these folds would look like when I do Sundra Peale here. So let's get the ink out. I have skinny ink. This is what I call skinny ink because it's much more watered down than the fat ink, as I call it. We're going to stir it up a little bit with one of these pen nibs things here, pen holders, whatever you want to call it. We're going to grab something here. We're going to grab a pen nib. We have to ink this, right? So what do we got here? Okay, this is a Hunt 108 in the little folder right here, or the holder. And we're going to make our first attempt at doing it. We're going to start with an outline, okay? Mr. Producer has brought up the page that I was talking about earlier. So where should we start? basically you can start anywhere. Am I going to follow every line exact? Absolutely not. Little things are going to take over here if I can get the damn thing working. When you do folds, try not to go generic, because there's so many things you can do with folds that go beyond generic. I can always tell when an artist is using generic folds. It gets boring after a while. So let's get her hand in here, as long as we're doing this extremity. Be very careful when you do fingers. That's why I got that hand folder, right, guys? That's right. You really have to take your time when you're doing these things. Because if you do bad hands, it kind of exposes you as a turkey. And especially when it comes to Thanksgiving, you are in trouble. All artists have done hands for a long time, but it doesn't mean you can't stay in the stick and get off the can and on the stick. Remember that one? You can't always refresh yourself with new ways of remembering things, because we're talking about our memory banks here, and they don't always work the way we want them to. In order not to get my hand in the ink that is going to stick around for a little while, I'm going to twist the page. This is a common practice among all people doing inking. So they don't get their hand in the ink. All folds work a certain way. Too many ums going on here. Did you know in high school, when I was taking a speech class for extra credit, I said 47 you knows? And by the time I got done with that class, I was down to 48. Silence. The dick is always trying to get camera time here. And the way that this will drape is very particular. This 108, Hunt 108 is a great flexible nib. So if I can find a way to not get my hand in the damn stuff, I'll be doing okay. Sundra Peale. When a girl's hips go in jeans, there's a little bit of a baby fat thing going on there. Try to remember that, because it's what you see in real life, and it adds a lot of actual legitimacy to your work when you do little things like that are real. And I'm a realist, so it's time to get real. You have to be you don't got to be careful, but you have to be diligent and aware of how the lines are going here, because all these contours should be dead on. If they're off, it's going to be obvious. Make sure things go around when you do things that have dimension to them. A little indication of the knee there. These are always tough, these calf areas here. Do I have to turn this thing around? Apparently I do. So let's see if I can You see how the line stops? Maybe I just need to add more ink. I don't know. Okay, so we got some nice outlines going on here. For you guys that are the slick type inkers, that's not what I am. I'm just not. I admire it when people can do work like that. But I don't seem to be of that variety. Apparently we're saving the head for last. Is that true, Steve? Yes, it's true. It's true, Steve. Sundra Peale's got this very interesting outfit on. It's I kind of made it up. This is where all the folds just kind of swing back and forth. Yeah, it always stops, doesn't it? But you'll want to see me do it first, and then you won't feel so bad when when you guys do it. All right, time to get out the... hold your ears, guys. When this is going on, just turn on a movie, watch a musical, go outside, come back in a couple minutes. Because that's when I'll be ready to keep going here. Time for the face. Oh, don't forget her little belly thing here. Okay, so this is where we really slow down here, guys. And try to examine every contour here, because when it comes to girls, you guys know what you're in for. I don't know what she's saying, but she looks pretty happy. The two things on the face that register all the emotion are the eyes and the mouth. They will tell you everything you need to know. Sundra's a blonde, so I'm not going to give her heavy brows. 37 minutes in. Well, that figures. Well, it's better than doing an oil painting. Okay. It actually looks like she's belting into a song. We mentioned musicals earlier. This is probably from Oklahoma. Or The Music Man. Be careful with these ears. Hair is where you can get really cursive. When the wind goes riding down the plains. Okay, so we'll get her hat on. This is her Dodgers cap. In my story, the Brooklyn Dodgers have returned to Brooklyn. Isn't that cool? You can do anything you want in comics and get away with it. And how many people would love to hear that? So let's see, this is critical stuff here. I think that nose is a little off there. Yeah, I think the nose is down too far. So the whiteout's going to have to come in, the blessed whiteout. Yeah, okay, well, We always endeavor to try. Now here comes the brush work. You get the fat ink out, all right? The fat ink. And that is right over here. F for fat. And we're going to grab a brush. And where is that brush? It's right here. This is the number 10. You guys have heard me go on and on about sissy brushes for the longest time, so I'm not going to bring up the sissy brush thing again. I guess I just did, but you know. Yeah, there's going to be white out on Sundra Peale's face right here to get it right. One of the things I always do is get the mirror out. That's actually the subject of one of my little shorts on YouTube. Grab the mirror and and see it from a fresh point of view and see how badly you did. This, I think we're going to do some feathering here. Because her knee is kind of going down in shadow. We need some thinner lines here, and this brush is a little is getting kind of worn. So be careful about that. This is a cast shadow that goes on her leg. So hopefully the black spotting will look okay when we get it done here. Sometimes you want to reinforce some of these lines. And if I was better with a pen, I'm sure I could have done it the first time. You see how that goes, guys? Sure, anyone can master it. I love it when they say, "Well, if I can do it, you can do it too." Well, wouldn't that be nice if it worked like that? Who should I say hi to? Katy Tunbridge, who did our voiceover for the thing you saw earlier today. She's an Aussie, and she did a great job. That's why we hired her. She's also a fantastic musician. There is a cast shadow that comes on these lapels here. If you've noticed, they kind of stick out at a certain way, especially when what, Steve? Especially when you got your arms out. I have different size brushes. Mostly I'm inking with, this is kind of the mass in the blacks, actually. This number 10. I almost said low Cornell. Well, don't I wish, right? I talked enough about those. They stopped making them. Death to the people that stopped making them. After all, it seems fair to me. I think they should be on death row for doing that. Oh, Oklahoma. Yeah, the mouth is way messed up here, but that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but that's what happens. These need to be more refined a little bit here. This is going to go in sort of back in space, so I'm going to put these in here. Sort of. There can be a little bit of a cast shadow coming across there in that leg. How is this done? How do you figure these things out? Well, it's the only way is to do it so often that it becomes, and this is what you hear all the time, it becomes a memory thing in your head. So, good thing people have this thing called imagination and the ability to learn. A lot of little fix-its coming up here. We can put a little thing in there, I think, to give us some variety. If I see something that I can add that is going to make it kind of, I don't know, kind of cooler, I'm going to put it in there. Hopefully it'll work out. The face is a disaster. Sundra Peale needs, what does she need? She needs whiteout. And there's her little gimmicky outfit right there. Yeah, a lot of times when you ink, especially your own work, you're going to see little places where you can change it and make it better, and that's yeah. The tip on this brush right here is getting a little worn, but you get the general idea. Correct? Correct. I'm glad we're all in agreement here. Oh, what kind of shoes is she sporting here? This is probably where we need the pen again. So we're going to get out the 108. I slow way down and things like this are going on. And that's the way you should think about it. Slow way down. Some things can be dashed off in a cursive kind of way. Other things, not so much. Aha. Where are we now? The face. We have to go back to that face again. Oh my God. If you want to do some halftones, here you go. Nothing ever wrong with that. Her eyes are not focused right. So what are we going to do about that? We're already over time here, but I think we're going to do some whiteout here, okay? All right, just pop in another musical, all right? And I'll be right with you. Now, hopefully that's dry, because if it isn't, I'm in trouble even more than I already am. Oh, my shoulder's in the way here. Mr. Producer, thankfully, is here to remind me that I'm doing something wrong here. So this is the whiteout that I use, this Deleter whiteout number 2. It's gouache, but it's a different kind of gouache. Because if you're using the Pro White or whatever they call it from Dr. Martens, that stuff is pure gouache. And you got to watch out for that, because if you're trying to ink over that stuff, you're going to plow through water-soluble paint. So let's get out the... yeah. Okay, well, let's go for it here. This line is wrong. The mouth is not in keeping with a good mouth. Okay, definitely an improvement right there. Next time I turn in the air dryer, we're all going to sing Oklahoma together, okay? What is the deal with her? Let's just erase this nostril. So even nostrils are like a big deal, especially when it comes to girls. A little bit of touch here, a little bit of touch there. Her eyes don't look so bad now. So you see how it's done at the Dude Studios? Again, no charge. Little things to fix. Maybe a little bit of a thing going up there to show you that there's a separation. Now this ink is, this white ink here is pretty interesting stuff. Of course it comes from Japan because everything is still traditional over there. I'm gonna you can go in with black ink over that much easier than the regular gouache Dr. Martin thing with a red top than anything else I can think of. Boy, you fix up that nose. Here we go again. It's time for the musical. Oklahoma, where they've been riding down the train. All right, I'm done. I'm bored. Let's put that nostril in there, okay? I think that nostril is a little high. Let's check it out. Today is nostril day, so obviously it has to look good. I'm going to grab a little bit of that white out, or as much as I need, and I'm going to fix that nostril. It's just a touch. Yes, okay, we're going to fix it. Okay, now the nostril is good. I think the thing is working a little better. Let's get the mirror out. I see something else I can fix right here. Her nose construction is a little off. So I need to fix that nose. Now she's got a big nose. So you're working with all these little things like this skinny little brush right here. This Simply Simmons number 4. Round brush. I'm not going to let this go. You guys can't leave until I'm done here, okay? I'm going to fix that nose. So it should be dry, and to prevent any more screwing up so you guys can get back to your real life, I'm going to try to do that. What else do we have to do there? That's more or less correct. It's not perfect, but you remember what Kirby said about perfectionists? When you're trying to be perfect, how did he say it? He goes, if you're a perfectionist, you spend all your time trying to be perfect, which kind of makes sense. Let's fix up a few details here. I know she's singing Oklahoma because I can tell the way her mouth is going there, that it's definitely Oklahoma. You see how delicate that has to be? I screwed up her nose a little bit more. So we'll get the white paint out again, and we'll give her a proper nose. See how fast you can give somebody a nose job in comics? There, okay, it's done. You guys can leave now. You can go back to your sauna and your whiskey sours. I think it's bar time, where somebody is. You got to sign it, right? No, I'm not going to sign it with this. That's how easy it is to add some. Never mind, okay? My talking lobe is gone, so let's just sign it here. It's July. Time's going away too fast. Did you ever think we'd see the year 2525? That sounds like a like a song from the 60s, that something in Evans. In the year 2525. Okay, there's my effort right there. I hope you like it. She's got a better nose than before, so she's going to be a happy girl. That's it for this week. Come back next time. The page that I mentioned that you haven't seen yet, page 17, here it is. It's in progress. And I have no doubt there's going to be some whiteout needed there. This is for sale. Pay us and you'll get it. Patreon guys, you guys are really helping out because that's the name of the game here, and we all know that. Keep it coming, and we'll all be much happier for it. You'll get stuff from me, and I'll get groceries from you. Take care. See you next time.